Hi tech lovers and welcome to another episode of the Tech Hub. In today's video we're going to look at my setup, but specifically my smart home setup, which is products from Apple or things compatible with the HomeKit, or I've made them compatible with the HomeKit. There's lots of rumors at the moment about what Apple's going to do in 2025 in regards to the Apple smart home. So we're going to discuss that, but I also wanted to show you what I have set up already. Anyway, let's start the episode. So first of all, I want to give you my overview on my history of my smart home. So until 2023, I did have some Apple products. I was using HomeKit, but not half as much as the stuff I've got now. Originally, I started with Alexa devices. I still think Alexa as a voice companion is better than Siri, so hopefully Apple will fix that in 2025. But because I was such in the ecosystem, I made it my mission to convert all my Alexas to HomePods and then really get into that Apple ecosystem. And along the way, I've got extra devices and I'm pretty much completed with my smart home now. Until, of course, Apple releases new products this year. So let's look at my current setup. Okay, so I'm going to show you what exactly I've got set up in my smart home, and all I tend to use for my heart to control my home kit is the Home app by Apple. It's integrated into iOS and iPad OS. Now again, I use Home Assistant as well. As you can see from this dashboard, I have lots of products. This isn't even all of them, so we'll look at it in each individual room. A few caveats before we begin. Not all products are automatically compatible with HomeKit. So the ones that aren't, I use Home Assistant, which I've linked below. And sometimes I use HomeBridge as well, but it's mainly Home Assistant, which is an incredible piece of software. It's incredible. I can't believe they don't charge for it. It's my dashboard for controlling everything. It does automations. It does so much. There's so much you can do with it. I could make a video about it, but there's already so many good videos about it. So look for YouTube videos about it or look at their website, which I've linked below. I mainly use Home Assistant for it. There are a few things I use HomeBridge for, but Home Assistant pretty much covers everything. And then I share it within my HomeKit. So let's first off start by looking at my living room. So straight away, as you can see, I've got my Apple products at the top. I've got the current generation Apple TV 4K, which is a great streaming box and actually works as a home hub as well. So with Apple products, they all have to talk to a hub, and that's how the app communicates with it. That's built in within all the HomePods and all the TVs now as well. HomePod wise, I've got two white first generation HomePods on the fireplace. Why two? Well, one sounds incredible. Two paired in stereo just sounds incredible. Their first generation, it's not a big difference with second generation. Certainly sound wise, after looking at all the reviews, there's really no difference at all. It's still supported hardware wise, so for now, those HomePods do me proud. Um, TV, you can see there's a TV listed. I have Logitech Harmony Hub, which controls all of my accessories that are set up on that TV. So I've got a Samsung TV, it's Apple TV, Virgin TV, there's a Roku there, there's a PlayStation. To switch between activities and control it with one remote, I've got the Logitech Harmony Hub. Now there's no link below, and I am putting links for everything I discussed today below. It's no longer supported by Logitech. Luckily, somebody took over the servers, and for now it still works, but it's only a matter of time, I believe, until maybe Logitech won't work. But again, that's all done through Home Assistant, and all the switches you can see on this screen are to control those activities or those accessories. And I'll also show you at the end how I use scenes for automation and stuff like that. Likewise, I've put a link below for the Philips Hue Studio Starter Kit. I've always had Philips Hue since we've been in this house. I don't get a lot of color lights. I mean, and I don't even have a lot of Hue specific bulbs now. There's a great brand called INNR or Inner. I'm not sure if you pronounce it like that. They're compatible with Hue. It's not compatible with HomeKit. However, through Home Assistant, the bulbs are compatible for me to stream to the HomeKit. So it works well, and they cost you a bundle as well. They're so much cheaper. The color lights I do have, I have a light strip behind the sofa, and I also have two Hue Play, which the Hue Play sync box, as you can see, I've got that. Not only is it a great HDMI switcher, but it syncs those lights, so it matches the color of what's on the screen. Looks great when you're watching it, or you can sync it to music as well. So that's the only color I've got in there. The smart plugs I do have are TP-Link Tapo P100 plugs. Every Black Friday I tend to buy four because they're on sale for about £40 for four. Last Black Friday I didn't because I had plenty. I have some Oda smart plugs as well, which you can't get anymore. They're the original TP-Link ones. I use that on the fireplace. Now the other plugs that you'll see on this screen now are for Christmas lights. We've just taken our Christmas lights down. But I'm going to leave the plugs there. I don't need them for anything else. So at Christmas, I just plug them in and it's synced. The only other thing worth mentioning in that room is the Miros Smart Surge Protector extension. So it's 6 mains plugs that can all be controlled individually. As there's some USB stuff there. I use this for my outside lights at Christmas. But I do tend to use the USB stuff in the living room if I need it for charging or anything. So that's everything in the living room. So let's check out the dining room. So let's look what I've got set up in the dining room. So already let's start off with the lights. Again, it's a Hue system. There's lots of lights in here. There's 7 in total. There's like 6 along the wall and 1 main one. I don't believe any of them are Philips at all. They're all that INNR brand, which has saved me a fortune. None of them are color. I do have a Hue Play light behind my iMac. Again, I can sync the color of what's going on my screen, but I tend to use it just to color the background here. And that was also a nice extra accessory at Christmas time as well. I've got a light strip behind the kids' desk. I did one of my last videos was about that desk setup. So if you're interested in how that looks, check that video out. But that's the only color ones we've got. I also have a Miros smart desk lamp, which actually I use for lighting myself now. There we go. If I turn it off, that's what I use for lighting myself during these videos. It's a great lamp. However, you really need to keep it plugged in all the time. What I find is if you turn off the plug, it loses the Wi-Fi signal and you have to set up every time. So apart from that, it does good, and we've got that set up on the kids' desk now. So that's it light-wise. The speakers and TVs you see, again, we have a Samsung TV in the corner with a Apple TV 4K. That's in the corner there, so there's a Harmony hub controlling that. There's 2 sets of HomePods in here. I have the main, I have a black HomePod first generation that does stream the Apple TV 4K content, which sounds incredible. Because it's such a small TV in the corner, TV sound isn't that good, but streaming the 4K through that HomePod sounds incredible. Now I've only got room for one. I'd love to have a dual setup there, but just no room for a second one. The only other HomePods I've got are the yellow ones, which are on the kids' desk setup. They stream stuff to it, or we can stream from the iMac that's next to. And it adds a bit of color to that setup as well. I love the color options for Apple Home stuff as well, because, you know, apart from the large HomePods, they've given us great colors with iMacs, HomePod minis, to really blend in and decorate your room as well. So that's another thing I think Apple are doing really well, are the color variants. Anything else worth mentioning here? I have some, again, the same plugs that I've got in the living room. There's one there for Christmas lights. There's a fish tank light I've got that I use to turn off at night and turn on in the morning automatically. So that's the thing with HomeKit, either through Home Assistant or the Home app. I do automations and set timers and stuff. As you can see, I do have a spare one. This is why I didn't buy any on the last Black Friday. I've got too many plugs, if anything. But they all work seamlessly here within the app. So that's the dining room setup. So let's check out the office. So office-wise, not a lot to talk about here. And what I class as the office is just this corner bit. Yes, I'm in the dining room, but for my automations and just how I categorize stuff, particularly in Home Assistant, it was easier to class this as almost a separate room. So I've got an Apple Watch charger here, which I have a smart plug connected to. So if I want to charge my watch or a watch that I'm charging to resell on my eBay store, I do it there. The HP monitor, I like to set that on a timer, so that's hooked up to a smart plug as well. So that turns off on in the morning and turns off at night when I know I'm not using it to save electricity. I have a iPad. I keep my iPad mini here. I've got a charger cable that reaches it that I can turn on and off at the wall. And I also have this PS5 controller where I can just flip a switch to charge it. There we go. So that's all that's in the office. Okay, next few rooms I'm going to go through pretty quickly because there's not a lot in them. However, there are some notable stuff. So in the hallway, this is where I have my router. I have the brains of HomeBridge and Home Assistant. So I've got two Raspberry Pis. I've got a Raspberry Pi 4 and a 5. The newer one, the 5, runs Home Assistant. And I'm really glad I upgraded it. I had a 4 and it was struggling, but the Raspberry Pi 5 was amazing. So I use that for Home Assistant. Raspberry Pi 4 runs my HomeBridge. I did originally, back in the day, run them from my iMac previously, but that needed the iMac to be on all the time, and also, it took a lot of memory out of it. So I'm glad I got these Raspberry Pis to run my smart home. Best thing I did. We also have a Hive thermostat, which is naturally compatible with HomeKit as well. We upgraded our boiler, and for not much extra, we just added the Hive, so that is great. Again, there's a Hue light. There is a white HomePod mini, which is great just to have one at the front door. So as soon as you arrive, you can set an automation or a scene, or when you're leaving. So don't stream music to it, but it's good just to activate Siri there. There's also some smart plugs as well. There's one for Christmas lights, which I'll just leave there. Now, I also have a plug set up to my HomeBridge and my Home Assistant. It's not, however, showing in my HomeKit. It's basically with the Tapo app. There's a Tapo app for the Tapo plugs. When I was on holiday, I had to reset my smart home, and I found it really just impossible to do from a foreign country if something goes wrong. So through the cloud, through the Tapo app, I can turn off my Raspberry Pis and then turn them back on to restart them if there is a problem when I'm not here. So that's a top tip for you as well. So that is the hallway. If we look at the kitchen, there's 3 lights in there and a pair of HomePod minis, which are in black on the windowsill. It's great for playing the news in the morning, or listening to music, or just controlling my smart home. Every room does have also the dimmer switches for Hue as well. So as much as I tend to use voice control the app to do it, other people can just turn them off and on using the dimmer switches. So every single room have them, but you'll see them showing up in the Home app. The reason they show up in the Home app is you can program each button to do something different, but I haven't bothered with that at all. Don't need it. In the utility room, I have a camera, which is a 360 Tapo camera, which looks at my budgie cage. So that's good to have. It's one of those ones you can move up and down. Again, not compatible with HomeKit straight out of the box. However, with some work on Home Assistant, I just stream it from there to HomeKit, so it's really good. And there's also a switch bot. So I've only got one switch bot, and these are great. If you don't have a Hue bulb, or in our utility room we have those strobe lights, so there's no Hue light compatible with that. It makes a light switch into a dumb light switch, as in the old ones, into a smart one. So this literally, tell it to turn it off and on, it flips the switch physically. I think it's a great product. I've only got one in the house, so I use that for the utility room, which is great. The landing is literally just a Hue light and a dimmer switch. In the kids' rooms, they have their lights. They also have HomePod. So Felicity has a pair of orange HomePod minis, which she uses. Thomas has a blue HomePod as well. And then in our bedroom, we have a bedside lamp for our lighting. We do have main lights in there, and I have been tempted to get the switch bots for them, but I don't really need them because the lights there aren't compatible with Hue. However, the bedroom lamp's enough. I've got a one HomePod mini, I've got the original first generation 4K Apple TV, and so I've got Logitech Harmony Hub in there as well. And I also turn that TV off at the plug during the day because we only watch. You literally use the TV when we go to bed at night time, so it stays off all day. And again, that's a great thing about these smart plugs. To save money, you can turn stuff off and leave it off until you need it, and that's really where I do it every day, which is in the bedroom. So that's all the rooms. The only thing I didn't touch on in the hallway also is a Ring video doorbell. Everybody tends to have a Ring video doorbell now. As you can see, those cameras are at the top. Ring doesn't work automatically with HomeKit. There was rumors of that coming, but it doesn't seem to have happened, probably because they're now owned by Amazon. So I stream that using HomeBridge. That's pretty much the only thing I use HomeBridge for, to the HomeKit app. I also have an Ode EVZ little mini camera which points at the front door, and that's the only thing that I cloud record on, because if security wise, if something's going to go wrong and I need to record it, it is the front door because that's the access to the house. Haven't needed it yet, touch wood, so we're all good there. Now, the last thing I wanted to look at in the Home app are the scenes I've set up. So it's all about automation. Once everything's set up, it's not just about having timers. I use scenes a lot. So I've got a outside Christmas lights on, outside Christmas lights off, Merry Christmas inside. So if I want, I can just turn on and turn off the Christmas light on all those separate plugs. Kids' bedtime is good. So when we take the kids up to bedtime, it will turn off the stuff down here we don't need. It sets their lights to the correct thing and where we are in the house upstairs. Bedtime, where me and the wife go to bed, I say that it turns on upstairs, turns off downstairs, so we can go up. So that's really quite cool. Um, Breakfast time, lunchtime, and dinner time that you'll see on the screen here. Those are set up so when we tell Siri that it's breakfast, lunchtime, or dinner time, it does an announcement in the house. It also turns on the TV in the dining room. So it announces in the kids' rooms, look, it's breakfast, dinner time, or bed or lunchtime, and it gets us ready to dine in here with the TV on and tells everybody. So that's a really cool one. Um, I'm leaving, turns everything off. Literally everything's off, as well as I'm home. The stuff we initially need when we walk in the house comes on automatically. Good morning does a similar thing. The stuff downstairs turns on. Good night literally turns everything off. PlayStation is cool. So I've got the PlayStation set up. So as you know, I've got my Harmony remote. However, it doesn't turn on the PS5. However, using Home Assistant, I can turn on the PlayStation and turn on the TV. So that's pretty cool. So I can just say to Siri, play PlayStation. It happens. As well as pause the television, play the television. That's pretty cool. I can tell her whichever room I'm in or whatever Logitech activity I'm doing, it will know and then just pause that one or not pause it. So those are my scenes and really my only examples of my automations. Okay, so let me talk about what I've heard about the rumors coming in 2025 from Apple. A long-standing rumor is a HomePod with a screen. It does interest me, but actually, from where I've got my HomePods, I don't need that access, and anything you can do on that screen, I'm going to be able to do in my hand, on my phone, on my iPad, or by my voice. However, the one thing that has got me intrigued, and this is a new rumor, is a screen, just a home screen that will, for us, it would sit in our hallway. And I'm really interested in this. So I've been tempted by the Amazon Alexa. I think it's I don't know how big it is, but it's a massive screen. Now, because I'm out of that ecosystem, I haven't got one. But actually, if Apple did one, that would be a main hub for everybody. And in the past, I've set up Ode iPad minis in the hallway so anybody that's not on our HomeKit can control our house. It wasn't needed and I had to keep it plugged in all the time and it just wasn't used. However, to have a permanent thing like that is really appealing to me. So hopefully they come out with that this year. It's rumored to be this year, and I'll totally get one if they do. However, I don't need stuff. It's rumored to come with FaceTime. I don't feel I need that at all. There's also rumors of them coming up with a Face ID Ring doorbell. I say Ring doorbell, a video doorbell. Ring definitely have the monopoly on that, and Ring are great. The only reason I would shift away from Ring is if Apple made one, because I'm in the ecosystem. But whatever Apple were doing, there's obviously a new interest in smart home, and I think that comes from that all their Apple Intelligence stuff as well. Yes, Apple Intelligence is here. Still can't really have a conversation with Siri like you can with Gemini, for example. Um, I think that will push them to make conversations with Siri a lot better. And of course, because you need the power for Apple Intelligence, the current HomePods just don't have that computing power to do it. So I can foresee Apple really pushing smart home this year. And it's come at a good time with AI coming on. I think they need to do it, but why not update the whole category rather than just HomePods to work with Apple Intelligence? So I'm super excited for it. Would I upgrade my HomePods? My living room probably. Um, Dining room, I don't think I would, or any of the bedrooms. So really, I might upgrade the HomePods in the living room if there are new HomePods. But really, it's all about that home hub, whatever the display is going to be called, that they do to control everything. I think will be great. However, they really do need to update the home app. It does basic activity, but really, come on, it can be done a lot better. So that's the end of this episode, looking at my Apple smart home products and how I use it. What's your thoughts on the video and the products that I use? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, please be kind. Please follow me on Instagram and Threads at TechHubWorlds UK. I also have a brand new website, which is techhubworldsuk.co.uk. So please check that out. Please like this video. Please subscribe to me, and I'll see you on the next one.